Hey guys, this is Wild Pikmin 1, and this is my video on Pikmin 3 DLC ideas. These are all my ideas that I think would make great Pikmin 3 DLC. This is really my first video that's not about Pikmin figures, so I'm thinking about doing more of these if this one turns out well, like maybe eventually a Pikmin Let's Play, and so on. So, let's get started. Okay, if you have not completed Pikmin 3 or want to avoid any spoilers, I would stop here. So, the first DLC I will mention is, probably would be the coolest, but was probably also the most unlikely and biggest, but I don't think that makes it completely impossible, because the end of Pikmin 3 really set up for this. So, if you beat the game 100%, Alf's notes mention how you leave Louie behind again, just like in Pikmin 2. Also, if you've been paying attention to Oliver's notes and his expedition logs, Hocotate Freight is in debt a second time. So, this leaves up that, they're going to need to return after Oliver's dropped off on Hocotate to rescue Louie and possibly repay the debt, which would be perfect Pikmin 3 DLC. I think it'd be awesome if you could play as Oliver President, and then rescue Louie in the very near beginning, and then you'd have three captains, Oliver, Louie, and President, which just like the three captains in story mode, you know, you could do all this different multitasking stuff. We could have tons of returning enemies, like the hairy Bulborb, snowy Bulborb, breadbug, Dweevils, stuff that wasn't in Pikmin 3 story mode. Also, you could have purple and white Pikmin in story mode, and maybe a new type of Pikmin. Another great thing would be new areas. They could be based off of the same continents on the map, just kind of like New Super Luigi U, how they kind of use the same map, but new areas. And it would make sense, because the continents aren't going to be those tiny little areas in story mode. I mean, they're giant continents. Oh, and I forgot to mention, of course, new enemies and bosses would be great. Okay, so this next part could tie into the DLC I just explained, but it could also be its own. The first part is President in Bingo Battle. So you may know that in 2 versus 2, which is just 2-player, but one player controls 2 captains, the other one controls 2 captains, which are Alf and Brittany / Charlie, and Oliver and Louie. But Alf and Brittany kind of switch out depending on whoever you want to play as. So, but Oliver and Louie, it's just always Oliver and Louie. And I was kind of surprised that they didn't make Louie switch out with President, just like Charlie and Brittany. But that is something they could add. They could also do 3 versus 3, work the same way. One player controls 3 captains, the other controls 3 captains, which would be kind of cool. You'd get Alf, Brittany, and Charlie for one player, and Oliver, Louie, and President for the other. So if we do get a DLC where we can play as Oliver, Louie, and President in story mode, that would make perfect sense. I don't see why they wouldn't do that. Or that could be its own DLC. Another DLC that could be included with the first one I mentioned, maybe, is returning bosses in defeat bosses mode in mission mode. I think this would be awesome and one of the best, right next to the first one. The way it could be integrated with the first one is if there's enough returning bosses in that storyline to just add to boss battle whenever you defeat them, just like in Pikmin 3 story mode. But I think it would make more sense if it just added 6 bosses to mission mode once you bought the DLC. And they could all be really cool bosses that we haven't seen in a while, or at least, you know, we haven't seen them as they used to be. Like, for example, Smoky Prog would be probably the best one. You could also have BD Longlegs, Pikmin 1 BD Longlegs. So Pikmin 2 BD Longlegs was cool and all, but he's just really easy. Pikmin 1 BD Longlegs is a lot scarier. Water Wrath that everybody loves, and Purple Pikmin could be obviously available on that, so you can actually defeat it. And then the Gulix, Emperor Bulblacks would be amazing in HD. Actually, a lot of these would be amazing in HD. You know, so on. They could be any of them, any of those returning bosses. So, yeah, maybe even there could be 2 packs of returning bosses, and each one contains 6 returning bosses to put in mission mode. I would love to see that, just because I love all those old bosses. We could see the Puffstool, the Titan Dweevil, and all these things would obviously be redesigned just like other enemies to look more realistic, like has already been done in Pikmin 3 too. Basically everything returning. And yeah, stuff like that. They could have new abilities, be maybe a little harder if they were like the Gulix, where really if you have blue Pikmin, there's no way for your Pikmin to die. Stuff like that. Oh, and the Emperor Bulblacks would have to be Pikmin 1 Emperor Bulblacks. I mean, Pikmin 2 Emperor Bulblacks very lame. But Pikmin 1 and Purple Box, that'd be tough. So, that brings an end to my Pikmin 3 DLC ideas. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like, and if you like what you're seeing from my channel, go ahead and subscribe. I might do more DLC ideas if I come up with them, but I think this basically covered everything. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.